Good morning, everybody. We got little Lucky out here this morning. I fed both of them a little while ago, so they're fed. They got breakfast already. And little Buddy is up there on the top of the roof of the car, if you can see him from here. But anyway, we're going to start our garden tour. And there's some of the plants I planted at the base of this. That's red clematis right there. That came up from seeds. And I got that caladium. And I'm going to let the red one climb all the way up on this side of the trellis. I think the red clematis would be real pretty. I decided to leave this here rather than dig it out, because it's just a shrubbery bush. And I thought it was one of the vines, and it's not. It was mismarked at the nursery, and it was the small one I bought it. You can tell the difference. Look at this. I've got two garden buddies now. Lucky and little Buddy. I got a pepper plant growing here. With, I think this is a melon, or it may be a cucumber. I don't really know. I don't think I put the stake to it. No, that's a jalapeno pepper. I did mark that. But I'm not sure what this melon is. I don't know if it's a cucumber, some type of melon, or what it is. We'll find out if it produces anything, I guess. And I planted mandevilla over here, the yellow. Let's go over here. I've got a mandevilla vine, a yellow one, planted there. So it's going to go up and take the place of the purple clematis that used to be there. And I don't know why these bulbs have not come up in the planter on the porch yet. Maybe it's not getting any sun. But there's my hollyhocks, and they're probably not going to bloom this year. I got a pepper in there with them just to see what the pepper would do. But they're growing good. Maybe by luck they might accidentally bloom this year. I don't know. See little Buddy up on top? He likes it up there. He's away from all the critters. And it don't rain on him either. Him and little Lucky have both had their breakfast this morning. We got more rain last night. Ooh, walked into a spider web. I just love it when you walk in a spider web and it covers your face. And there's my daylilies. They've been blooming. I got another one fixing to bloom right there. And like I said, a lot of my plants didn't come back up this year because it was such a drought last year and we couldn't water. I couldn't keep them watered enough. But I do have just one plant of daylily up there left. And those caladiums, and I'm not sure that's what they are. It's one of the little bulb plants that likes the shade, so I decided I'd put them up here in the top of this fountain. I think they'll be pretty. And I've got two different ones. I've got the purple, and I think the purple leaf one is so pretty. This one right here. And of course we got the white and the green. And I'm hoping they'll survive and they'll come back next year so I don't have to replant them. I may even get some more of those bulbs and spread them out in here. Like there's one right there trying to come up. That's the purple one. But hopefully they'll grow good over here because they're in the shade most of the day. They do get a little sun, but it's mostly shade. And see, I put one or two over here. I got just a couple of my mums that survived that drought last year. My rose bush, my zinnias, marigolds, daylilies. My knockout rose bush that survived. And this is the front rock garden, y'all. I've got zinnias, I've got marigolds, I've got mums, daylilies, several different types of flower bulbs that are in here. And again, about half of them did not come back up this year because the drought killed them. I guess the bulbs just died out. Isn't that pretty? The marigolds are starting to open out here. And look at that big, I got a sunflower right here at the edge. I don't think I planted a sunflower that close to the edge, but there it is. Look at this. He's following me around just like little buddy used to do. Well, little buddy still does, but he'd rather sleep right now. He's got his belly full. And I got to get out here and trim back this stump where this oak tree was cut down. Because look at this. My oak bushes is taken over from the stump. But even though it's not full and most of my plants didn't come up from last year, the rock garden still has plenty of flowers in it. And the daylilies will multiply as long as I can keep them watered. Marigolds and gladiolas in the back. Zinnias, sunflowers. So I think it'll still be pretty. Especially when these sunflowers start blooming. I'm going to have to stake that up probably, because it's going to lean over. Yeah, this is the front rock garden here. Got my little man back out in the front because he was getting covered up in the rose bushes and the mums back here. You couldn't see him that well. Yeah, Lucky said that's right. And look at the king up there. He says, I don't care. Let Lucky go stroll around with you in the heat. I'll just lay up here in the shade and take it easy. And see, I still got some of my blanket flowers here. They're still going to seed, but I'm going to be cutting these down pretty soon. My crepe myrtles are getting ready to bloom. Well, there's one blooming up at the very top. Look at that. And that other one over there's full of blooms. It'll be pretty when it's blooming. And this one, I don't know. This is the one I planted last year, but it's getting pretty big. I may let it grow straight up like that one did, rather than let it bush out. But here's the side rock garden. I got plenty of flowers in there, even though sometimes it's not exactly what I wanted, but it'll be pretty. I got several sunflowers, zinnias. And this vine that goes crazy. This is the kind of plant bulb. I can't think of the name of it. That the rock garden over on the other side that we just looked at. I had plenty of these over there. But most of them died out. They didn't come back this year. I think they just dry rotted and blew away. Or either the ground moles ate them. But the sunflowers and the zinnias are coming up out here. And I got broken 4 o'clocks right there. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. I think I put some seeds there just to see if they would come up. And it looks like they did. So, you know, they're going to start filling up this section too. Right along with these sunflowers. Look at the sunflowers. That's the Big Daddy sunflower right there. That thing's Probably 12 foot tall already. And that's the one like was in the backyard that was just full of sunflowers all up and down the whole stalk. So that's going to be beautiful. They're all, when they all bloom out, oh my goodness. That's going to be so pretty. They're hiding my rose bushes. But they're living together. They'll be okay. And I know the birds are loving it. The birds can actually get in there and get them some water, and they're protected by the sunflowers and the rose bush, marigolds. And see, there's more of the broken 4 o'clocks, or forget-me-nots. I think the 4 o'clocks. But I'm not sure where I'm going to put these. I could mix them up in the front rock garden up there, if they'll live. But I got that rose bush in there, and it's covered up by marigolds right now. My aloe vera, it's coming back to life. It's been in the pots long enough that it's starting to grow. And some of my seeds are still not come up. I don't know what the deal is with them. That's the parent plant right there, the aloe vera. And I got all of this perpetual spinach, peppermint, hollyhocks. Oh, there was a little hummingbird, and I scared him. I don't know if the camera got him or not. But I do have my lettuce here. And I haven't replanted the rest of it yet. I'm going to amend the soil in each one of the sections and plant something else in each tier. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the lettuce yet. But let's go out here across the yard and look out here. I see a squirrel has not tried to go up my pole this morning. I need to put out some more bird seed. But you know what? I'm thinking about putting my head of lettuce right there. That was supposed to be a flower, but it never came up. And I got peppers, perpetual spinach, and kale. And I'm about to break my sunflowers down with this wood over here. And I was told, I think that is lantana. I'm not sure. But I didn't plant it. I may have planted it sometimes in the yard. And maybe the seeds didn't come up when I planted them. And later on, the seeds got distributed in other places, and it ended up over here. But I don't think James, the guy that owns this lot, will mind flowers growing on his property. Because I've got another one way back there behind the watermelon, and I was wondering what kind of plant is that? Because it's kind of pretty. But I probably planted it at one time or another, and the seeds got distributed elsewhere in the soil or something. And that's why it's up there. Look at that, Lucky. Yeah. Why aren't you taking a nap like little Buddy's doing after eating breakfast? And here's my sunflowers here. And my mums are still there, the purple mums. And my blue bonnets. But I figured that would look pretty whenever the sunflowers got really tall. You know, and then you could see the mums real good at the base. And that's another one of those sunflowers that just puts out sunflowers all up and down the stalk. I'm going to step on you, but lucky. I got 4 o'clocks in there. And I was experimenting with that just to see if I could get the things to germinate and come up in the pot. My sunflower. Got a little sunflower here with my rose bush. It's got a pretty rose on it. My zinnias. And then here's this one. Sunflowers are taller than my head. And I do have zinnias and 4 o'clocks there. Look at that. I got a sunflower and I think that's a zinnia. Could be a 4 o'clock, but I don't know. No, I think that's a 4 o'clock coming up in there with it. If so, we may have more 4 o'clock plants come up voluntarily next year from the seeds it's dropping, because they're supposed to reseed themselves. So we'll see. My sunflower. My zinnias. And I think I got 4 o'clocks there. Yep, right here on this side. These right here are 4 o'clocks, I think. And that looks like a moonflower. I'm not sure. My sunflowers. At least I got something on the property line. And my rock garden over here, I've got morning glory going all up the tree trunk, which that'll be pretty when it's blooming, I guess. My big daddy hosta's in there. And there's the big daddy here, but it's covered up with all this other stuff. But it's growing and it's starting to put out more leaves, so it'll just have to hurry up and grow and just, you know, overtake these other plants that are in here. And there's the big daddy hosta right there. So they're surviving so far. I don't know what they're going to do when the drought kicks in. And there's my sweet dumpling squash in that blue pot. And I know I've got one on it. I can't see it from here, but I know there's one on it. Let's see. Yeah, there's one right there. Let's see how the morning glory. Look at this sunflower. I've got kale in there with it, and that zucchini or squash never did anything, so it's gone. I've got to replant something in these pots. I don't know what yet. And I may change it up. I've got 2 other little pots that I think I'm going to be putting out here. They'll look a lot better than these black pots. I'll move these black ones around somewhere else. I just haven't made my mind up how I'm going to do it yet. And there is my, what was this? That's a cantaloupe, I think. Cantaloupe growing out here. I have cantaloupe growing up this trellis. It's going to be crazy. And so far, my sunflowers survived back here, even though the rose bush died. So, and see, here's where I put my weed barrier down for my watermelon to grow on. I mean, I'm going to try to keep the vines contained to just where the weed fabric is. And as I said, I've got so many rocks in my dirt, boulders, that I couldn't even drive stakes down to hold this weed barrier cloth. I had to get those pieces of cut wood and put it around the edges everywhere to hold it down. But I said, that's okay. It'll stay there, at least. But so far, the watermelon is looking good. It's trying to put out melons. And this is where I ran out. I didn't have enough to put at this one. But I said, maybe it'll be okay. It's starting to vine out. It's blooming, so it's going to put out watermelons. And that is the... trying to see the name of the watermelon. Black diamond. Those are the big ones. And this one's looking real good. I'm liable to have watermelon vines growing up that cedar tree because it's so close. Yeah, but I had to put the weed fabric on top of stumps and everything else because it's not been... I mean, I got stumps and crap out here. But so far the watermelon's looking good. If it don't get so hot on it that the heat kills it. And this one here. And look at all the big pieces I put on this one. I couldn't help it. I ran out of small logs. I had to use the big ones. So we'll see what they produce. Well, where was the watermelon we saw? Was it on this plant? It probably was. I lose it every time. I go to check on it and I can't find it. There it is. There's my watermelon. Right in there. And it's got other little ones. I don't know if they've been pollinated, but it's had other little ones on the vine. It's got plenty of blooms. And this squash perked up since I put this other pot here with the pepper in it. And it's got plenty of compost in it in the bottom of it. So it brought that squash plant back to life. This one just gave way and died, but it looks like I got another one coming up since I put this flower here. I think that's the Rose of Sharon. I don't know how big they get. But look at the morning glory. Even back there, I have to keep it pulled out of the buckets because it tries to grow up the buckets and gets on my kale. Look at that. Anybody want morning glory? Lucky, look at this. He's right up in here with me. Look at that. This vine, morning glory, is just... I'm sorry, I'm cramping y'all up with the picture, I know. But look at the rose bushes. I've lost one here, but the other ones here have looked like they're surviving. Look at him. Got a spider on me. And see, I put the mandevilla in there. That's a yellow one. I'm hoping it will climb up the trellis. It may not. But the clematis is trying to climb. My rose bushes here are living, but look at the grass. I'm going to have to move the rocks so I can just basically mow around the bush. Because I've tried and tried to keep that grass out. You can't get rid of it. Once you have Bermuda grass, you got it for life. That's how much it rained last night. It did get runoff from the totes. And look, I got to pick some more tomatoes. They're turning ripe. My yellow turnips. I got a jalapeno pepper. Look at that. Don't you know that sucker's hot? Let me go throw this morning glory in the fire pit. I mean, it's not going to do any good. I've got so much of it growing everywhere. It's not going to help to throw any of it in the fire pit. I'm not going to be able to get rid of it. And don't get me wrong, I love morning glory. But I just didn't want it to take over everything else. Oh, we didn't show you those. My rose bushes, my blanket flowers, my irises. My irises are done for the season. And look at all these peppers. That the seed, you know, those are the seed that I planted from the cut up bell pepper. So, and it's yellow, green, red, orange. So I got a bunch of plants I've got to transplant somewhere in the yard. My kale. And that's walking stick kale, y'all. It's going to grow like a tree. And for some reason that sunflower died out. I don't know if the morning glory had anything to do with it. But my okra is blooming again after I cut it. My walking onions are in there. And I did pick that melon. That's the one you saw in the container with my tomatoes and everything else in my last video. I got peppers. And look at this morning glory. Look at it, y'all. I pull it out every day, and every day when I walk through here, I've got morning glory. You pull it out, and if you don't get every little smidgen of that root, it comes right back. It comes back with a vengeance. Ain't that right, Lucky? Look at this. And my turnips, I don't know about them. I've lost my rutabagas. That one there is trying to bulb up. I really needed to put them in a bigger container. And that one is bulbing up. So if you plant rutabaga, you might want to put them in a larger pot. And I got a Big Daddy sunflower right there over my head. That's an Ace 55 tomato right there. And I'm not sure what those are back there. I think those are some that come up from the slice of tomato that I planted. But I come out here yesterday or day before. Oh my God, I had those squash bugs all over my zucchini and yellow squash bushes. And you can see all the morning glory back here. I mowed about to where the property line is, as far back as I could get it. Because I do need to get to my water meter right there occasionally. So it makes a pretty border around the property. And I'm liable to put me a tomato plant or something in here with these volunteer potatoes. I don't think the potatoes are going to do much. I mean, they might. But there's my banana tree. There's actually two of them. One is smaller than this one. This is the big one. The other one's only half that size, and it's on the other side. My purple walking stick kale. And I got a tomato planted here with it. Not sure which tomato that is. I think that's one that come up from the slice of tomato. And look at this. Some of these are getting more water than the others. Got plenty of kale. I need to harvest some and cook some. I need to get this out of here because it's too big really to put in this pot. But I mainly set it there the other day to help hold that sunflower up because it was leaning over and I couldn't get it to get upright. And this is another one that's top heavy. Right here, look at it. I need to get a... And remember, I put the little potatoes in here. And the onions there, all the onions look like they're coming up. And I got a couple over here. I haven't really planted this one yet. So I got wild plants and stuff coming up in there. I think that's, don't need that in there. Catnip. I had catnip growing in here at one time, or in a little pot that was sitting in there. And it didn't come back up the beginning of the year, and I figured, well, it's not coming back. Well, I think that's what that plant is right there. I think that's catnip. I may be wrong. I got to fill those containers up. I see bees. Woo. My kale. Yeah, I need to harvest some of this. I've been keeping an eye on it. I'm trying to keep the worms off of it. You can see where they've already eaten part of it, but I've been dusting it every once in a while. And I dusted it before the rain to kill them. But then it rained on them, and you know, it washes the 7 dust off. That's the thing about 7 dust. It works like a charm. It will get rid of those worms in a heartbeat. But once it rains, you have to dust them again. And really, that needs to come out of there. It's not getting enough sun, I don't think. And here's this tomato plant. That was one that came up from the slice of tomato, remember? And it's got blooms. I don't think I've picked a tomato off of it yet. Here's my jalapeno with stuff growing up in it. It's got a jalapeno on it. I think this is my zucchini. I haven't gotten a zucchini yet. I mean, I've had a hard time keeping my plants alive this year. I need to replant something here where I had my garlic. This is the the tote that I pull my garlic up in. My onions. Look at that red onion. And the white one. So they're bulbing up, and they bulb up, they pop up out of the ground. You see this one? And my turnips, look at these. They've taken over my arugula. And I was going to transplant arugula to different places. I got carrots in there, but the turnips are taking over. I'll know next time when I plant turnips in there, don't plant anything else, just turnips. And of course, I got that volunteer tomato. And there's my purple bell pepper. I can't wait to harvest some off of that. And I think this is a zucchini. I'm not sure. I think that it looks like a zucchini leaf. And I've got a ponderosa pink tomato plant right there where I planted it. And of course, this is a, what did we say this was the other day? I lose my markers, and then I don't know what I got planted in there. And you can't read the marker anyway because it's faded. But anyway, it's a tomato. It's got tomatoes on it. And I'm pretty sure this is the zucchini. And my purple bell peppers. That's a yellow squash. And my yellow turnips here don't look too good. They died down, but I've been keeping them watered, so we'll see what happens with them. And there's my Roma tomatoes. It's got little Roma tomatoes on it. Jalapenos. There's another Roma tomato bush. The bush don't look too good, and it's leaning over, but hey, it's got 3-4 Roma tomatoes on it. And these are all bell pepper plants that I've got to, I don't know if they're green. Yeah, these are the green bell peppers here. And look at all the plants. I got to get them out. I'm probably going to plant them in the cinder block holes where I did before. One year I just filled up each hole with a pepper plant. And my basil. I got to plant something else in that bucket. I don't know what yet. My rose bush is here. My peppermint. I cut all my peppermint back because it was looking too stringy. I cut it back, prune it back, and that way it comes back thicker and it looks better. And I'll probably put a tomato plant there because I've already got the stakes. There's some of my romaine lettuce. And there's a tomato. And my kale. And I don't remember what tomato plant this is. But I've got a canary yellow melon back there. Bell pepper, tomatoes, kale. And see, I may put some bell pepper plants in my tower here. Because I got plenty of open holes I can plant more plants in. Just checking, y'all. Checking my leaves. Yeah, I've only got 1 or 2 bush beans left. All of them died because they don't like the heat. They don't like the heat. And look at that. Isn't that walking stick kale? Don't that look good? It's either a tree collard or walking stick kale. I don't know which. I planted both, and I've got them strung all over the yard to where I don't know what's what anymore. But that is a healthy plant right there. And I planted a couple of my ponderosa, I think it was ponderosa pink tomatoes down in here because these sunflowers are about gone. They didn't do too good back here. But in the meantime, they'll keep the plant shaded until they get a chance to take hold and root good. I got 2 of them in there. No, that's the Cherokee purple tomatoes. And I got a Cherokee purple one planted way down in there. I can't wait to see the Cherokee purple. And see, I moved my other basil over here. And I got a pepper plant beside it. Tomato. I marked everything. That was the red slicing tomato there. And here's my tree collard. That thing has really done some growing. But see, I can use these holes in the cinder blocks. That's what I did last year. I planted each hole with a pepper plant. That's one reason I wasn't too anxious to put flowers in there. Because I knew I was going to need it for my pepper plants. And look at this. This is a healthy looking plant here, y'all. And I got a tomato coming up in here. It's going to fight this squash plant for life. I got tomatoes on this one. I keep that one there to put a tomato on because I know some of these tomatoes get 12 foot tall. And I've already got that fixed. So I just usually amend the soil in the pot. And I replant a tomato plant in it every year. One that I know is going to get real tall. See, I've already got a pepper plant coming up right there. In fact, there's a whole bunch of pepper plants coming up in there. And I got to get out here with some twine and restake those because they're falling over. You know, it's tomatoes' natural way to grow is just to fall over and grow along the ground, and then anywhere the vine touches the ground, it re-roots and grows another plant. And I wish I could do that here, but I can't. So I've been trying to grow them vertically. But it's not easy. You see, that one over there is laid down and it's almost touching the ground over there on the other side. It's just fell over the pot, almost like a vine. And this one's doing the same thing. And this one, look. You just can't keep it growing up the trellis for some reason. It just don't want to do it. And there's my clematis. This one always looks better than the other ones. But I've got a yellow mandevilla. I think it's a yellow one. Planted on each side of it so it'll grow up the vine. I mean, it'll vine up the trellis right along with the clematis, and I think that's going to be really pretty. My tomato plants here are starting to look real good. My Egyptian onions. These are my, well, these the Hungarian? No, that's a Marconi sweet pepper. See, I did get a couple of these Marconis to live. Not all of them died. That's a Marconi right here. And I think that's like a banana pepper, only it's a red one, I think, but it's a sweet pepper. But it looks like a banana pepper, only it's a different color. And there's another one of the Marconis. And I don't know what pepper that is. It may be a Marconi, I have no idea. This is a Marconi. In there with my tomato plant. That's a Marconi in the yellow pot. Then I got tomato plants over in there. I've got an Ace 55 that I planted there. That's a tomato. And this is a Marconi pepper. So it wasn't a total loss when it comes to my Marconis, because they finally did take hold and start growing. And I got a Marconi pepper back here under this tomato bush. So I do have my banana peppers. They're just Marconis. My rosemary. My tomato plants. Looks like I got 3 tomato plants in there. Ponderosa pink. My pepper plant. I think this is a jalapeno. Yeah, it's a jalapeno. Because it's got jalapenos on it, y'all. My purple tree collard. And it's not in a very good place. Not to be a tree collard. Not on a second tier bucket planter. My perpetual spinach. And I planted a... Can't even see the name of it on the tag. Oh, that's a Ponderosa pink tomato. Right there. I still don't know where I want to plant this mandevilla. But I've been keeping it in this pot. And I've got this plant that I've got to plant somewhere. A balloon flower. So I'm not sure where I want it. Not sure where to put it yet. Oops. Leave it right there for the time being. It can help hold my tomato plant up. And there's a pepper. And right offhand, I don't know if that's a Marconi or not. But I got a red slicing tomato. I've got a hillbilly tomato. And I got those peppers back there, but I don't know which pepper they are. I'll have to wait till they produce peppers to see. And you can see I've repotted some of this. I think those clematis, not clematis, but coleus need more sun than what they're getting. Because they're still not doing well. They need sun. But look at here. I just broke that off, what, yesterday or day before? And it's already got roots. Look at that. I know the other one's got tons of roots on it already. It's ready to be transplanted, basically. See? Look at all the roots down in there. And that's the 2 I broke off of that potato right there. And look at all of them on here. I have no idea where I'm going to plant these, y'all. Look at these. And right there. I'm going to have plenty of potato slips. And that is a, I think that was a Hungarian. pepper. And I planted a Hungarian wax pepper there, but I don't know. That's what that is there, but it's so little, I don't know if it's going to survive. And remember, we planted peppers here in with my lettuce, because the lettuce wasn't doing too good. But I did put peppers in here so the peppers can take hold and start to grow. And I'm probably going to use this space over here for more of my vegetable garden too. And I planted ponderosa pink there, because I already had the cage. My Egyptian walking onions. And see, I still have not harvested my onion bulbs to plant. I got peppers there with this tomato. And that is a Better Boy. I got a ponderosa pink there that I planted. I got those all transplanted yesterday. Ponderosa pink there. No, that's a Cherokee purple. And those two tomato plants are surviving with the pepper. And I dusted the squash plant down there. I'm hoping it's going to survive since I moved it over here. It was getting too hot. Squash plants don't like that scalding hot. And I've been thinking about planting my potato slips here and letting them the vine climb up on this garden trellis, but I don't know. I don't have anywhere to plant them, y'all. I've run out of tubs. Because I got a pepper in there and I got a tomato plant in there. Tomato plants in there. Tomato plant there. One there. Tomatoes in there with peppers. But this would have been a perfect spot to plant those sweet potatoes, because it gets a lot of shade. Because you don't want to plant your sweet potatoes in the open, scalding hot sun. And I don't know about these. They're just, I had to break this one off because, you know, the wind blew it over. And the plant's still alive that's left. I mean, that's another one I planted there. But I was hoping that one would go ahead and root. It may. And I still got tomato plants in that little pot with my raspberry bush. But this raspberry bush really needs to be in the ground. It don't need to be in this pot. Yeah, this would have been a perfect spot for my potatoes. But I can put them on the other side. I've just got to get some kind of container to put them in. I got to get a couple more totes or something. See, I did cut all my peppermint back. I got jalapenos, that's for sure. And I planted no, that's more jalapenos. I was going to plant a tomato plant in there. And my cucumber patch. Got more fat cucumbers. Like I said, I planted probably 3 or 4 different kinds of cucumbers. I planted the little pickling cucumbers, the straight 8s. There's just several different ones. But I like them all, so... And see, that almost looks like it's a pickling cucumber or a straight 8 started there. I don't know. And that squash plant's got plenty of blooms, but it's all male flowers, looks like. That one too. That's my problem. If the plant lives, a lot of times it's a plant that only produces male flowers. My Egyptian walking onions. And your walking onions want sun. They love sun. My tomatoes here are growing good. My peppers. I mean, they've loving it since we got all this rain. See how this one does? It grows like a vine and just trellises over. Because it grows to be like 12 foot. But look at all the little tomatoes on it already. These are the grape tomatoes because they grow like grapes, like clusters. And they're good little tomatoes too. And there's this one. I don't remember which one this one is. But I got peppers growing in there too. Right there. I got to keep moving, y'all. These mosquitoes are trying to take me away. And this tomato plant's getting pretty tall. Look at there. I got jalapenos on this thing. I guess that's jalapenos on that plant, bigger than the plant. That one don't have jalapenos on it yet, but it's got plenty of blooms. This tomato plant's getting blooms. And my poor little pepper plant come back to life down there. My eggplant survived. You know, I transplanted 2 of them over here. I get in the spider webs. And that pepper plant. The pepper plant looks good. That's a bell pepper, I think. It's either a bell pepper or one of the little hot peppers that look like a bell pepper. And my eggplant's getting blooms, so hopefully I'll have some eggplant. Look there, I had to break the vine off of my eggplant. Because it was going to pull my eggplant right on down to the ground on the other side. And I got to get over there with the weed eater and cut all that down. So they don't keep growing up on the tote. I need to, I guess, hire someone to come in here and clear out a bunch of this underbrush so I can plant over here. And look at there, that poor sunflower broke, but it's still hooked together. So I tied it up and it's still blooming. Poor thing. The wind just destroyed it. I got tomatoes here. And I do have a couple of tomatoes, look. There's one down here. That's a Better Boy tomato. So they should get pretty good sized tomatoes. And my sweet dumpling squash, it's just, it don't like this hot weather. But you know, I did harvest 2 sweet dumplings off of it. And I went ahead and put me eggplant in the pot to utilize the pot. I get out here and start pulling weeds when I'm doing my garden tours. But sometimes it's the only time I get to do it. Because see, I can't get the mower back here. I'm going to have to bring the weed eater and cut all this down. I got the batteries charging in the house now so I can get out here and cut this. But I'd have stuff planted on out here if I could get this section cleared out. Oh, it's just a lot of work and it's hot. And then I'd have even more stuff to water and take care of, I guess. But yeah, I've got tomatoes there. Tomato there. And see, I've got to harvest these Egyptian walking onions. Look at that. They need to be harvested and replanted. See, that's the part you replant. You break them open. And that's a little starter right there. Onion starter. So I've got to do something with them. Because this old plant, this is the first pot of Egyptian walking onions I ever planted. And it's covered in little onion starts. See? I mean, they're everywhere. I got to get them off of there and plant them. And look at here. I got cucumbers here. I can keep my vine from growing everywhere I don't want it to grow. Pull it back up there. Yeah, I got my tomato in there. That was a crazy thing to do. Planting a tomato all up in there with my cucumber. That's like growing a salad, isn't it? Oh my goodness, this one is needing to be picked. Look at the size of that. But if they get too big around instead of long, they'll start getting too tough. I'll leave the other one on there for another day or so. But it's putting out more, but they didn't get pollinated or something. But I'll lay these over here. But yeah, that's basically what I got for today. I mean, look how tall those sunflowers are. I mean, most of them are up over the canopy. But it's pretty. At least stuff's growing. Me and my crazy garden. See what I'm saying about those tomato plants? They're just fell over. They want to get to the ground. They want to grow on the ground is what they want to do. They don't want to grow up a vine. And this is a sweet dumpling. It's got more blooms on it, so it's going to produce more little squash. But they like partial shade. I mean, even though it says that they like full sun, that means they only like about 5 or 6 hours of sun during the day. And usually not the hottest part of the day. The rest of the time they like shade. So this is the perfect spot to plant my stuff, but I just can't get everything over here until I get some of that section over there cleared out. So we'll see. Well, y'all, that is my garden tour for today, I think. I'm going to go in the house, cool off, and see what else I can get into. I'm going to have to edit this video too, I know. So, I need to get more water in that one right there. It's drinking up some water. All the roots in the bottom. Look at the roots on that potato. And that one barely has any roots. Look at that. But they're different kinds of potatoes. That one's got one root. But it's just a different potato. Look at that one. This is like a red potato. I've got 2 of those. That one and the one in the corner. This is the one. Let's see who sent what. Susie sent these big potatoes. The anonymous subscriber sent the 2 red ones. this one. And I'm not sure how I got this one. But it come from the anonymous subscriber or either Susie. Lucky, I think we've had enough of the garden this morning. And I haven't had a cup of coffee yet. I got to go get me a cup of coffee. And little buddy, look at him. He's still on top of the car sleeping. So with that, I'm going to bid y'all a good day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. I appreciate it so much. I love all my subscribers. Comes the mailman. Little buddy kind of got up and took notice of the mailman, but he's still on top of the car. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and conclude this garden tour for this morning. Y'all have a blessed day. I'll see you on my next one. Bye now.